Good morning to all of you. Good morning, Nagesh. Only one good morning. Anyway, I'm very, very happy to be with all of you. I'm not a retail expert, so please, I'm not going to speak too much about retail in the next, I think we started half an hour late, so I don't know, am I supposed to cut down my presentation by half an hour or continue? Okay. So, I'm going to talk about my own story and how we built Marico and how innovation has played an important role in Marico's journey and how innovation can be institutionalized in an organization. So it's more to do with innovation and Marico and very little to do with retail. But separately, I think after this session, Nagesh has roped me into a next session, which is on some panel discussion on retail and innovation retail. So at that time, maybe I'll give some of my thoughts on retail innovation. So I'll just go back to my own history. I passed out of college many, many years back and joined the family business of Bombay Oil Industries. At that time, a very small business, and I had just finished my commerce graduation, and I couldn't get into a management school then. And I wanted to, in India that is, I wanted to study abroad, do a management education. My father was very scared. He's saying, nothing doing, you're not going abroad, you'll never come back. So those days, you know, as kids, you were far more obedient than today's kids. So I had to, I agreed to him. And joined Bombay Oil Industries, which was the organization then. At that time, the company was doing a turnover of about 5 crores. And we had 3 different businesses. We had a chemicals business, we had a spice extracts business, we had an edible oil business, but mainly in bulk edible oil, selling edible oil to other industries, and in bulk tins, which were again sold in loose. And I joined the organization. There were no professionals, there were no basics of any systems, no application forms for HR, no appointment letters, and the whole company was managed as a typically family-managed organization, where the family was doing most of the things. And then there were some other family confidants who were actually helping the family. So at one level, that gave me a great opportunity to look at various parts of the business. And in that, looking to different aspects of 3 different businesses, I realized that this edible oil business, which is mainly in bulk, if I can convert that from bulk to branded, I think that will be great for the organization, and that will become far more profitable, far more sustainable, rather than just a bulk business, which was subject to fluctuations because of pricing and, you know, fluctuating rates. So what I did, cut a long story short, was to basically promote these 2 brands, Saffola and Parachute. Started doing things by visiting interior markets personally, appointing distributors, retailing products to the trade. I think that really gave me a big, big high, you know, when you are very young and when you start seeing results of what you're doing. I still remember vividly those days when you actually acted as a sales rep and started retailing. But that was good grounding for me. I got to learn a lot about what was happening in the trade. Now, over a period of time, we brought in packaging changes, brought in distribution network expansion. First went in the west, and then south, and then north, and then east. But it took almost 8-10 years for us to expand distribution network, because one had to go very slowly. There was nobody to mentor me from the family, and at one level, I was doing things on my own. And when you are on your own, you are a little scared and you're young that, okay, whatever you're doing, if you're adding overheads, you know, it has to pay back in terms of the results. So one had to take one step, see that it's functioning, and then take next step. But as an entrepreneur, you know, you have a lot of obstacles when you are small and when you are a family-managed company. Now, for an FMCG company, the key thing is to attract better quality talent. So what happens, you know, when you are located in Masjid Bandar, which I'm sure many of you have gone there, but in the heart of commodity markets, a lot of traffic, a lot of hand carts, very difficult to attract good talent. You know, I used to call people for interview to the office, and half the people would just turn away after coming to that area. So what would I do? I would then call them to the Willingdon Club, prepare them mentally, you know, this is a good job, please, and then after that, invite to the office. So that really improved my overall success rate in attracting talent. Again, in the initial phases, when you don't attract good talent, but when you fight with the big MNCs, you know, in the marketplace, how do you bridge that skill gap? So one would go to the consultants, and I think leading consultants who would have time, because we were not able to attract really top-class talent. So I virtually worked in each and every functional area with a top-class consultant. For example, I would work with a consultant out of IIM Ahmedabad, And he was very busy during the day, so he says, you